Hello everyone, thanks for joining. I'm going to be walking through how I made a shaker card. So starting by just cutting a piece of paper here from regular cardstock. I cut the paper 5 1/4 by 5 1/4, and then we'll be using this Altenew Zentangle Patterns 3D embossing folder. Altenew Zentangle Patterns 3D embossing folder. Ran it through the Gemini Junior and love this embossing folder. Just look at all of the detail. It's really like a ray with all of the different kind of portions of it, like a sun ray, but all the different portions having a different pattern. So I really love all of the possibilities that you can do with this. So what we're going to be doing here is coloring each of the rays. Actually just using Catherine Pooler inks. Here I'm just trimming off the sides. There was a little bit of an excess, and then in order to do the shading for each of the colors, I used that just regular crafter's tape and my blending brushes. So love these little, I'll link to all of these, but love these little clips that I got for my blending brushes, so I can mark which colors they are, and I'll again link to the carousel here that I keep them in. But again, we're starting with a 5 1/4 by 5 1/4 piece of paper using just the inch wide crafter's tape and masking off all the areas that we don't want to color here. So this first section I'm going to be using Dive In. I apologize for that being upside down, but Catherine Pooler's inks, love them. It's really all the inks that I use, but I have a few others from a long time ago, but I have Catherine Pooler's full collection and love her ink pads. But here I'm just going to blend this first section in, and I'm blending to where the smaller portion of the ray, if you will, is darker, and then fading out to the ends. I'm going to speed this up because really I'm using the same technique for every single section, and just removing the tape here as I go, being careful not to pull any of that cardstock off. In hindsight, probably use a different kind of tape for this going forward, and then you'll see that I start just trying to kind of just press it on the edge. This next color that we're going to use is also in the purple family. Again, all the inks are Catherine Pooler. This one is going to be Serenade. So this is one of my favorite colors. It's such a pretty light purple. Again, going to use the same technique to blend this onto that section, making it darker at the beginning of the ray and then on forward. And again, I'm just moving here. You'll see just moving the pieces of crafter's tape to mask off the areas or to only show the area that I really want to blend here. The next color, another one of my favorites that I'm going to be using is Aquatini, and you'll notice that I have some of the full size inks from Catherine Pooler, and then I have some of the mini size. This is one of the minis. I really enjoy having both, but look how beautiful this color is. So this was Aquatini, and again just blending darker at the beginning of the ray and then fading it out using that masking tape again here, that crafter's tape. I tend to like to just use a scratch piece of paper here instead of having to clean off my silicone mat after I finish. This next color is Lime Ricky, another one of my favorites because green is my favorite color. But Lime Ricky is just a, as it would indicate, a pretty lime green. And then the next color that I'm using is Garden Party. It's just a kind of a lighter green here. So again, masking off, and you'll see that I try to just press along the edge only as I kind of got smarter going forward, just so it wouldn't stick to or pull off some of my cardstock as I pulled it off. So next color here that I'm going to be using, is really hard to see on the actual container, but it's Chiffon. It's this really, really the lightest yellow that Catherine Pooler has in her collection. But this last little small section I do with the chiffon, and there you have it. So again, that is the Altenew Zentangle Patterns 3D is the 3D embossing folder, and just ran that through my Gemini Junior and used my blending brushes to and crafter's tape to mask off the sections that I don't want to use, and blended those. This stamp set that I'm going to use for my little shaker element is by Fawn Lawn. It's Magic Messages, and going to use the die here for that. So just going to cut out a section here, running this through my Gemini Junior, cut out a little small circle here where I'm going to put my shaker element in, and cutting that back piece of paper, I want it to be a little bit bigger, so I cut it 6 by 6. So that back piece of paper again there is 6 by 6, and I'm just going to trace my circle here, so when I stamp that using my Misty tool here, I can make sure that I stamp and get that right into the middle of the circle. So really like this stamp set. The different ones say happy birthday, hello sunshine, sending big hugs, thank you very much, lucky to have a friend like you, which is the one I'm using, and then you make me smile. So really like these, and you know, can use them for so many different things. So I'm just inking up my stamp here using the Misty tool. If you don't have a Misty tool, it's really a must-have. That way you can get same placement every time to get a darker ink press. And that is what I use to clean my tool, or clean my stamps, which is actually just a squeegee by Fawn Lawn. And again, this is Magic Messages Fawn Lawn stamps. And then squeegee is not the right word I'm looking for, but that's what I use to clean the stamps. Now what I'm going to do is make my shaker element. So these are just the standard little small foam double-sided strips. And I learned here, I've done this many times, but I learned actually if you go ahead and take the paper off of both sides, it actually will form much easier around your circle. So you see me doing that here, and I've also kind of learned the hard way when doing these shaker elements, it's really best to put 2 layers, so it gives your shaker the contents really plenty of room to shake in there. So what I'm using here is a Martha Stewart. These are just little crystals. I'll link to the set. There's all the different colors. This one is just a crystal as the actual color. And really love using this little triangle tool here. It allows you to get placement directly in the center of your shaker element here. And then using the acetate that I purchased from Catherine Pooler's shop. And then just place my acetate on the top there. I always save all my pieces because I end up using them for other projects, but it turned out really cute. I love this crystal color here, and just kind of making sure that my shaker element is nice and secure, and then I'm trimming off the excess around that, lining it up here. And then what I'm doing here is just using the kind of typical double-sided tape, and making 2 layers of that. One layer on this particular tape that I have is not quite thick enough, so you'll see that I'm going through and making sure that there's 2 layers of each one of these sections, and then I will adhere my front of my card to this and make sure that we're good to go. Make sure I get good alignment. Sometimes I use my MISTI tool to make sure I'm getting the proper alignment, but I didn't this time. It just turned out super, super cute here. Now, there's probably a better way of doing this, but what you're going to see me do next is I need to work on my back. So I probably could have made that a back all in one time, but I didn't. So now I'm making my card back. So what I'm going to do is cut one piece of paper 6 by 6, and there may be an easier way of doing this, but this is just how I do it. I didn't want to do the standard card because I just wanted all of this embossing folder pattern to be shown. So I made one 6 by 6, and then this next one here I'm actually doing a 1/2 inch bigger. So one side is 6.5 and the other is by 6, and then I'm using my scoring tool, and that extra 1/2 inch I'm making my score there at a 1/2 inch. And this is just a way of making that a 6 by 6 card back, kind of all one piece of paper. So I'm folding that over there at the 1/2 inch mark, and then so I have this piece, and then I have my 6 by 6 piece. So here I'm just going to end up gluing these together. So if I put it underneath like that, then open it up, that's exactly what I want to do to get a nice card back. So love the Bearly Art Glue. I love this little piece that I bought that goes onto the end to close and keep your glue from drying out. I just find it a little bit, I'll just like it better than the actual long stick pin that kind of goes down in there that comes with it. And I'll again link to all of this, but just aligning this here to make my card back, get it in exactly where I want it, just folding over that little lip, if you will, and then now I have a 6 by 6 card back. So just pressing that there, make sure it gets good and secure, and then I will add my Bearly Art Glue here to the front of my card back, and then almost wrapping up this project here. So I'm going to be adding the front of the card here to the card back, and we have a finished card. Again, I didn't want to cut any of this particular embossing folder down. I just think it's so pretty. So here's what we have. And again, sorry for the camera being upside down, but thanks for joining. Be sure to subscribe for lots of great new content coming up. Thank you.